Morning for Saturday, September 26th. It's a college football Saturday. I want to talk to you today about how many teams should make the playoffs in college football this season. I'm a big believer that we should do everything we can to protect the integrity and the importance of the regular season in college football. I've always been perfectly fine with 4 teams in the college football playoff because I think you have to make the regular season vital. It is not vital in the NFL. You can lose a bunch of games and make the playoffs. In baseball, you make the playoffs losing a bunch of games. The NBA, the NHL. College football is the most important regular season that we have in American sports, and I love it that way. When I was growing up in the 80s, if you lost a game, you were pretty much done. Now you can get into the playoff actually, potentially, if you lost 2 games. So expanding the field has never really been something that's been appealing to me. If you expanded to 8 or certainly 16, you could have a bunch of 3-loss teams in there. I don't really want any part of that. I know a lot of you disagree. You want opportunities for all of these teams at the end of the season. That's okay. It's a good discussion. However, I believe it's important to be able to adapt with whatever the circumstances are. And I think this year in particular, with a crazy college football situation, I would be perfectly fine expanding the college football playoff field for this season and this season alone. You've got a lot of teams around the country going to play a bunch of games. Then the Big Ten is going to play 9. The Pac-12 is going to play 7. No non-conference games. It's going to be harder this season to truly get a gauge and a feel for what the best teams are when you don't have a whole lot of other scenarios in play with, longer seasons, more non-conference games, cross-country type of games between leagues, that sort of thing. So I think this year, for me personally, I would be perfectly fine if they went to 8. I don't want to see 16. I really don't ever want to see 16. If you can't come up with the 8 best teams, then I think there's a big problem. I would potentially be kind of okay with 12, giving 4 teams a bye, and then you play, the other 8 play, and then after that first week, you'd be down to 8 teams. Maybe it'd be okay with doing that. I prefer 8, but I do think they're giving a lot more teams opportunities this season, and this season specifically would be good for college football. If Penn State, Ohio State, that game in week 2, whoever loses that game, probably done for the college football playoff if there's only 4 teams selected. So I think 8 would be good this year. I've said in the past I would be okay with 6, and kind of for the same reason. You give 2 teams a bye, and then after that first week, you'd be down to 4. The problem with having 12 this year is you'd end up playing a bunch of college football playoff games, and I don't know that they're going to want to do that in December. But I know this is a good debate. I've had this discussion with a lot of people over the years. Many of you would love to see it 8 all the time, or even 16. I think that's a terrible idea, to be honest with you. I just want to protect the integrity of the greatest regular season that we have in American sports, and that's the college football regular season. Have a good day, folks. Enjoy watching the games.